everybody. Today in this video I wanted to talk about the policy paper Which Path to Persia that was released in 2009, and I think it's important to go through the sponsors of this policy paper to begin with. So the two main sponsors that are on this policy paper, from what I could see, it says Smith Richardson Foundation and the Crown Family Foundation and others in the drafting and publication of the study. I would then focus mainly on the Smith Richardson Foundation and the Crown Family Foundation, just to go through them a little bit briefly. So the Smith Richardson Foundation was established in 1935 by H. Smith Richardson and his wife Grace Jones Richardson. Mr. Richardson was a remarkable man with business career successful beyond blah blah blah. And he started out with a firm in North Carolina. I don't think that's the most important part, but I just wanted to give you a short summary of that. He was a businessman from North Carolina who had a firm, and he was very much so interested in charity work and helping people, allegedly, right? But if you dig deeper and you check out the international and security foreign policy objective of this foundation, you will see that it has a bigger or larger agenda. He is an American patriot, after all, I guess. The foundation continues to support work on critical security issues in Europe, East Asia, and the Middle East. As part of its effort, the foundation seeks to explore the challenges of responding to the emerging alignment of adversaries. Very important to keep that in mind. Who are those adversaries? That is China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea. These are the main ones, right? And it says here that threatens the United States and its allies and partners. In this context, the power to cope with current, future challenges. In this context, the foundation seeks to support new thinking on how to reshape U.S. political, military, and economic instruments of power to cope with current and future challenges. The foundation also provides funding to foster the next generation of school scholars and analysts. It does so through 2 annual fellowship competitions, the Strategy and Policy Fellow Program, and the World Politics and Statecraft Fellowship Program. So that's the international, the Smith Richardson Foundation. The next one, it wasn't a whole lot of information that I could find, and that is the Crown Family Foundation. It is located in Chicago, Illinois, United States, and it only has a very brief, it talks about being a charity organization, but it says here to support and carry out the exempt of the Jewish Federation of Metropolitan Chicago and the Jewish United Fund of Metropolitan Chicago by such means as the board of directors of the organization may determine. This accomplished by providing grants to charitable, religious, educational, and scientific organizations. That's the purpose of it, and it was established in 1985 in Illinois, founded by Lester Crown, whose father, the late Henry Crown, was a majority stakeholder in, well, this is important, in the U.S. defense company General Dynamics. Currently, Mr. Crown controls holdings in such companies as Maytag, Hilton Hotels, Altel Aspen Skiing Company, and the Chicago Bulls. He has been a member of the Forbes 400 since 1982. So it's a organization controlled by a Jewish millionaire or billionaire. And it says here in the JNS, it's about the Crown family. JNS is proud to partner with the Embassy of Israel in Washington, D.C. to celebrate 70 of the greatest American contributors to the U.S.-Israeli relationship in the 70 days leading up to the State of Israel's 70th anniversary. This was written in April 13th, 2018. Yeah, I mean, they are a Zionist organization, I could say. In profound ways, the Crown family has enabled Israel to be a great contributor to human story. So, what is the JNS exactly? Let me just see. Well, I don't know the acronym of it, but Jewish News Syndicate. My bad. Yes, the Jewish News Syndicate. That's what it stands for. So, now we got that out of the way. So, you know who the people are behind this policy paper. The authors of the policy paper all seem to have worked many years with the CIA, and they include Kenneth M. Pollack, Martin Indyk, Daniel L. Byman, Suzanne Maloney, Michelle O'Hanlon, Bruce Riedel. This is what I could see. The Path to Persia, Which Path to Persia policy paper, one of the strategies that they talk about is the persuasion approach. So if I read a little bit of it, the core concept of the persuasion approach remains the idea of simultaneously offering Iran a series of compelling rewards for giving up its nuclear program and possibly seizing its other deleterious behavior as well, and threatening to impose harsh penalties on Iran for refusing to do so. In essence, it means offering Iran a deal, as it says, but one that also contains an implicit ultimatum. Change your ways and you will be rewarded. And the Bush administration did eventually adopt a version of this policy. The key question that supporters of persuasion approach, including the Obama administration, that also opted for this strategy, must answer is what can be done differently so that the new version can succeed where the last one failed. The heart of the critique of the Bush administration efforts is that it is never willing to offer Iran, this is very important, that it is never willing to offer Iran a meaningful positive inducement, both because many administration hardliners reject the principal idea of any concessions, and because the administration concurrently pursued a limited policy of regime change. There you go, they're pursuing regime change. So no matter what deal they're proposing, the whole idea is to overthrow the Iranian state, right? Which militated against taking any steps that could alleviate Iranian problems. So the persuasion strategy is to throw a fake deal in there, basically a deal that America was never going to implement or hold its side of the bargain, so to speak. But it was just a way of, let's see here. It was never willing to offer Iran any meaningful positive inducements. So, yeah, it's a fake deal. Persuasion strategy. Let's move on to the next strategy is called the engagement option. In the chapter 2 called Tempting Tehran. And I'm going to read from some of it. So the goal, it says here, at one level, the goals of the policy of pure engagement are identical to those of the persuasion option. Engagement seeks to convince the Iranian regime to give up a range of behaviors that the United States finds threatening. It proposes to do so by offering Tehran a range of diplomatic, strategic, and economic inducements so attractive that the Iranians will gladly give up their problematic policies to secure these benefits. However, a critical difference between engagement and persuasion is that engagement makes no effort to convince Iran to change its behavior soon. Instead, it is a process left open to the Iranian regime, and as the next section explains, there is every likelihood that it would take years for the regime to change its ways as a result of this strategy, if it does so at all. Consequently, a critical element of the engagement approach is the implicit assumption that there is nothing that the United States or the international community can do to prevent Iran from pursuing a nuclear program to whatever end Tehran has in mind. Similarly, engagement has no mechanism by which to try to prevent Iran from supporting violent extremist groups, subverting Arab-Israeli peace efforts, or generally destabilizing the region. Although in theory the option endeavors to convince the regime to do so, in practical terms, the policy consciously surrenders any potential leverage on Iran to make it do so. It is ultimately a strategy aimed only at long-term change, although its advocates would argue that such change is both the only realistic change and the most profound change imaginable. So that's how it is. That's the second strategy they have. I'm not going to read through all of it because it's very long, but you guys get the point.